Hello folks, now a couple of months ago I did a video on EV depreciation and we looked at some examples of just how cheaply you could pick up a fairly new EV for. Lots of reasons for it. Obviously loads of ex-lease cars and ex-company cars are back into the used market, and it's sort of a bit of false demand, if you like, and oversupply, and it just causes the prices to go through the floor. Now car prices in general, used car prices, are going through the floor at the moment. It's not just with EVs, but as we did that video, and it's actually become my most popular video ever, that means more than 12 people watched it. As that worked so well, I thought I'd revisit, particularly as prices have continued to go down. So let's have a look at a few now. We're going to start off with this Renault Zoe. This is a Q90 Dynamic Nav Auto, 8.5 grand for one of those now. You can see this was first listed in June of 2023 at 11,800. So it's 3 grand off the original asking price. If you wonder what this funky little AT price tracker thing is, I've done a separate video on that, which you can check out. There's a link up there somewhere, so go and check that out. It might even be up there. I don't know. 8.5 grand for one of those anyway. This is 30,000 miles on it, 2019 model. You've got 186 miles of range. Good little car for someone, that. 2019 Nissan Leaf. This is the facelifted version of the Leaf. 40 kilowatt hour N connector hatchback. This one's got 168 miles of range, 8,800. You can get a Leaf for almost any budget now, but I think the facelifted one is quite a big improvement over there. This one's got 56,000 miles on it. It's a 2019 model, but you get one of those for under 9 grand. Cazoo have got this Fiat 500e. I love them. I've talked about them before. One of those cars I really didn't expect to like, and sort of unashamedly loved it. 1st of November that went up for sale at 15 grand. It's currently 13,400, 199 miles of range. It's the 42 kilowatt hour version. You will find cheaper Fiat 500es around, but they've got the smaller battery pack, so you get much lower range. And in reality, you're not getting 199 miles out of that. In my experience, it was more like 140, but your mileage may differ, pardon the pun. Volkswagen ID3. This is one of the big ones because these were big money new, and this is a 2020 model. It's only got 36,000 miles on it, and you can get one for 17 grand now. This is honestly, the ID3 is the car that first made me think about getting an EV, and actually because of various tax efficiencies and stuff, I did it a different way. But this one went on the market in September at 20 grand, and even then they looked like good value because they were, I don't know, 35 new, somewhere around that region. Currently 17, and that's a 2020 model with 36,000 miles on it. Kia Niro, 64 kilowatt hour first edition. Kia Niro is a brilliant car. Now, there have been 1 or 2 battery issues with these, but before someone starts making YouTube hate videos about the battery issue, it's not that battery, it's the 12-volt battery. And by all means, it's not the only EV to have had issues with the 12-volt battery, but something to think about anyway, and just to do a little bit of reading up on if you are getting a used EV. 64 kilowatt hour first edition, 201 brake horsepower, 2019 model with 20,000 miles on it. I mean, 20,000 miles is really not a lot, is it? Went on sale in October for 21,250. Currently 16.5 grand. That's with a private seller as well, that one. You have to think they're sort of ready to shift it now. So, yeah, it could be a bargain there for someone. Great cars, though, in fairness. The Kia Niros sort of do everything that most families would require of a car. What's the range on that? 282 miles as well. So, not too shabby, is it? Skoda Enyaq. Lots of people like the Enyaq. Lots of these went out as company cars, so you would expect to find some bargains around. This one's with a private seller. It went up at 21,395. It's 9 days ago at the time I'm recording this. 2019 Tesla Model 3. Now, bear in mind, this was a very expensive car. It's 40 grand plus car when it was new. 2019 model with 40,000 miles on it. 241 brake horsepower, 254 miles of range, 18 grand to you. Private seller again, 18 grand's great value for that car. And look at this. This one's bananas. This is a 2022 Tesla Model Y long range. Bear in mind, I'm filming this 2 weeks into January. So this car's probably a year, 18 months old. And the long range version of the Model Y is over 50 grand. All right. And there were real problems getting one of these not too long ago. They were going for silly money if you could get your hands on one. Now, the way things are at the moment, you get a pre-configured model from Tesla. They'll give you a discount if you get an in-stock model. Quite an easy way to do it as well, because not too many people are throwing the options onto them. So this one's 35.5 grand. It went on the market a couple of weeks ago. They've already knocked 500 quid off it. It's got 34,000 miles on it. And you have to think, for that kind of mileage in a year in an EV, it's probably had a lot of supercharging. I doubt it's affected the battery that negatively, but you can always get yourself a battery report done. Speaking of checks, as we did there briefly, you'll see there's lots of adverts to Car Vertical on here. That's because this Auto Trader Price Tracker Chrome extension, which I mentioned in another video, they fund that basically by putting ads to Car Vertical on there. I strongly suggest you have a look at VCheck instead. There's a link in the video description and pinned as a top comment. It does help support the channel. It costs a hell of a lot less than some other services. I may have mentioned one a minute ago, but it gives you much the same information. I think the only thing that the aforementioned service gives you that this one doesn't is it checks to see if the car's been written off in about 50 countries or something. I'm not so worried about that personally if it hasn't been imported. And we can see here that, like in this sample report, this one hasn't been imported. So this sample, they're just giving you a horrendous report so you can see sort of everything there is to see. The most important thing you get here, I think, in my personal opinion, aside from the normal things like has it got outstanding finance against it, has it been written off, checking things like the engine number and the VIN number so you can check them on the car and match against the logbook, etc. It shows you cars that were unrecorded write-offs. So this is a car that will be completely HPI clear and probably for sale in your local dealership, even in main dealers. These often come up in main dealers, completely HPI clear, completely legal to sell them as HPI clear. But as you can see, it's been through a salvage auction. And if it's been through a salvage auction in recent times and there are photos available, they'll also show you those on here. Costs a tenner for the full report. I think the basic one that just basically does the salvage check is about £3, so it's not going to cost you the earth. I think it's a great value, comprehensive report, and if you use my link, it helps support my channel, and I will say thank you very much. Right, Polestar 2 single motor 64 kilowatt hour, 23 grand now for one of those. That's a great car for that sort of money. 28,000 miles, 275 miles of range, 2021 model. BMW iX, just going up to a few of the tastier cars here. So off the top of my head, 65 grand new, possibly, in that sort of ballpark. This one again's got 33,000 miles on it, so I'm sure it's probably ex-company car. 2022 71 reg, 43 grand now. As I said, it has got a few miles on it. It could well have seen quite a lot of fast charging, but wouldn't really worry me on that kind of car. 257 miles of range on that one. And then as we move on to the next one, let me just imagine a world where you bought an EV, lived with it for a bit, and apparently hated it. So you then bought a second EV, and that second EV was a Porsche Taycan, and you've lost loads of money on it. Well, the good news is what you could do is make a load of YouTube videos about how much you hate it and recoup some of that money and probably end up in really quite a good position as a result of it. Well, this one's the Taycan Performance 4S, 25,000 miles on it, 49,964 quid, and under 50 grand's getting you into a 3-year-old Porsche. Not bad at all. 26,000 miles on it. That's a 90 grand car, roughly, brand new. So it's lost like 40 grand in 3 years, which in percentage terms is actually not horrific on a new car. And if you want a very similar car with an Audi badge on it, you've also got the Audi e-tron GT. This is the Quattro base, 523 brake horsepower. It's got loads of spec on it. Comfort and sound pack, panoramic roof, Bang & Olufsen sound. 2022 model, 31,000 miles. So again, it's done some decent miles on it. 303 miles of range on that car. It went on sale on the 23rd of December at 58,950. They've knocked 6 grand off it. It's currently 52,950. There we go, folks. Just a very quick one. I know we've covered a lot of these bases before, but I just want to show you really that last video I did was not sort of a one-off. There are plenty of used EVs around. The used EV market's being fed constantly by company car drivers. Long may it continue, I think. I think it'll end up bringing down the price of new EVs. And for all those people that say EVs are elitist and you can only get into them if you're middle class or whatever, not anymore. you can get in one if you want one. Not everyone does. That's cool. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. See you on the next one.